Welcome everybody to our Upland Legits AMA here. We're very excited to be here. You guys already know them. I'm joined by Matt Bianchi, aka General Mort, and of course Adon Zuckerman. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us. For everybody who is here, we are excited. Legits have dropped, and we saw that there was some technical questions out there about Legits, so we wanted to do an AMA today to address some of those technical questions. We have done a previous AMA. Where we went through Legits in depth, how they work. If you haven't yet, I highly encourage you to go watch that. We actually have a link in the description of this video, so you can go click on that and check it out. We go over everything, what are Legits, what are Mementos, what are Essentials, stuff like that. So go check that out. This AMA is going to be focused more on some of the technical aspects of things. So thank you very much for joining us. We are taking questions that were previously submitted over on Discord as well as Reddit. And then, of course, we will be taking questions live from here to our YouTube live viewers who have joined us. So again, thank you very much. And with that, let's jump right into it. I think the first thing first, Adon, do you want to say anything about how the drop went or anything like that? Review kind of the process of the drop this weekend and players. They started to receive their legits yesterday.
Yeah, and I think the actual minting process took just a tiny bit longer than we expected it on the mainnet, but mostly I would say delivery went according to plan. We have seen a couple of really a couple of glitches here and there, but they were really not too common as we review kind of like the output of that. I think it's really exciting. I think we're looking at the legits and they look fabulous.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's really exciting to see everybody posting your legits, seeing you guys talk strategy about what legits you're going for and stuff like that. For those of you who haven't, come join us over on Discord. We have a legits channel there where you can discuss all that. I do want to shout out some players here in chat. Jimbo19's here, Diverse G is here, and as well as DJ Shorts. So is More Cheese. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a minute and talk fan score. This has been something that's come up in the community, and we discussed it in past a little bit, but let's jump into a little more depth. Mr. Matt Bianchi, fan score. Let's go over that real quick.
Yeah, so we did publish an announcement. So if you guys haven't seen it, I do highly recommend you check it out. I know we dropped it just a little bit before this AMA. So there's a few things that you guys should review in there. There's a link to what I'm about to share with you guys. So you guys were asking for it, and we do have both the inventory and the fan points totals now published live. So you can go and check those out. If you go to the post that we just published, there's a link to this sheet in there, and this also links you out to all the respective packs. So if you look in here, you can see what each pack basically can contain. So this will show you, if you can get a cap or a jersey or a variant, something like that, or if there are mementos in those packs, both for the impact players and the superstar players. And then if we jump down to the fan points breakdown, this is where you'll see how much each of your actual legits are worth. So if you have an essential cap that came from an impact player who we consider to be a contributor, so this would be like a guy who is probably a rotational guy. He probably gets in on some snaps. He might start some games, but he's not in there on every down. Then you've got your starters. These are kind of your like expected players to play, probably roughly around 80 to 90% of snaps. In the superstar category, we have broken it down to key players and elite players. Key players are basically two of the top three players that are just absolutely core to that team and their success, and then elite player being kind of that number one guy on that team. So for each of these categories, you have a different score. And you can check out what each of those would be worth looking at this table. Replicas, of course, are worth about half of what the memento versions are. And then you can also take a look at how those points can be boosted, right? So if you've got a memento cap that came from a wildcard game, you now have a 1.05x boost on that fan score. So instead of 1,500 points, you'll get, what's 5% of 1,500? Being put on the spot. Okay. You'll get 5% of 1,500 on top of that, and then so on and so forth. If you look, divisional game 1.1, championship 1.15, and then for the big game you get 1.2. And then if you take a look at the bottom here, we have the actual inventory, both for the packs and the legits themselves. So these are all of the legits that are in circulation. There are a couple footnotes here to be aware of. For jerseys and caps, there may be some final number adjustments to the mementos based on certain players that may have changed teams halfway through the season or during the season. And then for the essentials packs, these are going to persist basically in the store either until December 31st. In other words, we're not going to make any more after December 31st or until the current inventory runs out. So you guys can have a bunch of fun with this, I'm sure. Go check out, what players you have, see how many points they're worth, that sort of thing. And then if you guys actually click into the probabilities tables, you can actually see their classification here as well. So that should help you kind of figure out how many points all of your legits are worth.
Excellent. Very exciting. Yeah, guys, go check that out. You can go to upland.me/events and see the latest announcement there. And a link is there that has all that stuff. We did get a question on fan scores. Will fan scores be tied to titles? Anything above, just your chances to mint? Will you get stuff like titles, rewards, or achievements?
Yeah, there are going to be, leaderboards, and there are going to be in the future rewards associated with those types of competitions. So fan scores will not be used exclusively just for the memento minting, but there'll be other kind of gamification as it relates around fan scores.
Very good. And Uplando actually had a question here over on YouTube. And Adon, I think this is a good one for you to address. He says, we have seen some so-called misprints. Will they remain in game or will they be fixed?
So yeah, we are planning to offer a route to have those fixed. Obviously, that will require basically the approval of the owners, but we are definitely going to fix those.
Some big
attempt to.
Yeah, thank you very much, Uplando, for that question. Some big questions that we've seen regarding 2020 legits specifically. We've seen the question multiple times: how many more 2020 legits will be sold? Again, you could go to the sheet that Matt just provided, and all that information is there. So go check that out. And then we did get this question: how do I know what is a regular season legit versus a postseason legit, or impact player versus superstar? Don, would you like to take that one?
Yeah, so when we're talking about regular season versus postseason, we are talking about mementos basically, because essentials they do not have that kind of like qualifying distinguishment. So when we're talking about mementos, on the actual legit, you're going to see a badge, and that badge would say either it's a 2020 regular season, or it is a playoff, or it is a kind of like a big game memento. So that would be your way to kind of distinguish between the two. And then we are going to, going just a tiny bit into the future, we are going to show kind of like the fan score that is associated with each legit on the kind of like the NFT view. So you'll be able also by that virtue to determine kind of like that NFT's qualification to the fan score and to the appropriate phase of the season.
Very good. On 2021 legits, one of the common themes that have come up since the legits have dropped, especially over in Discord, is when can we expect 2021 legits to be sold, to begin to be sold?
Yeah, so that is with the introduction of the primary markets, and stay tuned for more updates exactly when these are going to be deployed. They have been developed in parallel to kind of like the actual NFTs that were demonstrated with the 2020 legits NFT delivery. So we're going to have more information on that soon. Of when we are going to activate those 2021 primary markets.
Yeah, and we've also seen some confusion on whether or not the stadiums have to be built before we can drop 2021 legits, and that's what the NFLPA shops are for, correct?
Correct. So again, having the stadiums built will not be a prerequisite for starting the 2021 primary shops. That is why we put together the temporary shops that those can serve as the primary markets until each stadium is going to be built. So that's exactly why they are there.
Yeah, let's take a minute and talk about the fire icon that some of you guys are seeing on the back of your statistics here. DJ Shorts over on Discord, he wrote in and said, why do some cards have fire but others do not? Maybe let's go through what that symbolizes, what that means, and why certain players have them and some don't.
Absolutely. So we have put basically a math model behind each and every type of position for players. And basically that means that for every stat in the top 5 stats that appears on the back of the memento card, there is a certain threshold when if a player crosses that threshold for that statistic, that stat line becomes on fire. So basically, any memento NFT can have various degrees of fire, either nothing, or is it one stat of fire, two stat of fire, three, four, and then the absolute most valuable one would be the 5 stats on fire, where every one of these stat rows among those 5 will be on fire. And the model roughly, again, this is a statistical model, so it means that kind of like reality may kind of like change a bit about how games are actually played, but about 1 out of 100 performances would result in an all on fire stat. Now, that all on fire does not have any implication for fan scores. Fan score is going to be the same for every memento. This is just a visual way to kind of like point out the player's actual performance and how massive it was in relation to other performances. And now that model that was developed based on 2020 statistics, it will be applied also for 2021. So basically, each new year, we're going to rely on the previous year's stats to kind of like make those tweaks about what exactly is the threshold for each stats to determine whether it was on fire or not.
Very cool, yeah. So fire is good, everybody. Scooby wrote in for clarification. He said, so a memento with all fire is good, even if it's a lost game. And that's correct, because remember, that's tied to the individual player.
I would say one thing, because for every memento, the first stat is the actual game result, and the spread determines the fire. So you can, if you lose, the most you can make is a 4 on fire game. So you're not going to have that 5th one if the game is lost.
5 for 5, yeah. This next question, I think, Matt, is one that we've had in the Upland Cafe before. This is from BitSource Solutions here on YouTube. He says, can we donate Spark to building Stadium for NFTs? Is there any plans around that? Matt?
As we discussed recently, I think in the cafe, right now we don't have any plans to reward anybody for staking for the stadiums. You're more than welcome to. We may potentially introduce something, but we haven't made any decisions on that front yet. So just have to stay tuned.
Very good. Thank you very much, BitSource, for writing in. Great question. Our next question comes from Jimbo19 over on Discord. He writes in and asks about the 2020 packs. If there are any unsold by December 30th, will those legits be burned? And then we do have a couple questions about the burning mechanics and how burning will work inside of Upland.
Sure. So again, the way it works, essentials are only minted per their purchasing. So it's not that we're going to mint thousands of essentials in advance. We're only going to mint the essentials that would support each sale for 2020. So we may end up past December 31st with some minted essentials that were not sold. Those would get burned, but that will be a very low quantity of items that will get burned. Again, going into 2021, essentials will be minted as they are sold and not necessarily pre-minted in full.
Excellent. By the way, Scooby said, I'll take a 4 out of 5 fire, FYI. So absolutely, Scooby. Thank you very much. Real quick, we got a question from Cyclonics, and I'll go ahead and take this one. He asked, will the NFLPA actually make an announcement? Or is this just a licensing agreement? These are very different things. All we can say on that is stay tuned. We can't speak about that right now, but stay tuned. I'm just going through our questions here real quick. Kevin the Man writes in, and Don, I'll let you take this one. He says, in the future, will legits hold any value as far as overall value on a user profile? So I think he's talking about net worth here. Will these contribute to your overall net worth as an Upland player?
Yeah, so again, I'll repeat the definition. Currently, the definition of net worth is the sum of a player's Apex balance and property value. So meaning parcel properties on the map. That hasn't changed. And again, we are thinking about that. But currently, the situation is that legits that you own do not count for your entire net worth.
Very good. Thank you very much, Kevin the Man, for writing in. Aaron Burr, sir, writes in over on Discord as well. And he kind of compiled a bunch of questions that a lot of players had, and they were posting in the Legits channel there. And one of those was, when will players be able to trade Legits with each other? Matt, I'll let you take this one because I think we just addressed that in the announcement that we posted. When will players be able to trade legits with each other?
Yeah, so the goal is to deliver that in the next couple of weeks. And then once players are able to trade, you guys will be able to swap one for one. And then we do plan on having a trading event that I don't want to tell you guys too much about yet, but it is going to be fun. And I'm really excited to tell you guys all about it when the time is right.
Yeah, and along with that trade, I think this kind of ties into a business question. And Adon, we've gotten this business question multiple times. We went really into depth in it in our last AMA, guys. So if you haven't seen it, again, go check out that AMA. Link in the description. But just real quick, will players be able to sell legits to other players for UPIX? And then how does that tie into businesses, Adon?
Yeah, so again, the secondary markets for legits will be in Upland by player-run businesses, where players can sell legits either for UPIX or for US dollars. Again, given the fact that those business owners have been approved for KYC with our NFT to USD program. So having all those constraints, having these businesses deployed, everything will be available within Upland for either UPIX or USD. And again, I suggest to maybe touch up about some articles about businesses, about, again, what can be done with these secondary markets, etc. Again, it's not just that the business owners themselves will be able to trade their inventory in there. Other players will be able to utilize those businesses to also kind of like sell their legits, again, for either UPIX or US dollars. And again, and trading would be enabled, just, legit for legit would be enabled on the global level.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, if you guys haven't, check out the previous AMA. We kind of dive into that in depth. So make sure you check that out. Definitely. We got another question from DJ Shorts over on Discord. When can we how can I get more 2020 legits? He says, this is will he be able to get those in the store or at the stadium? Matt, I'll let you take this one. I think this is a point of confusion as well in the community.
So more 2020 legits. 2020 legits are only going to be in the Upland store. So just like the experience that anybody had for the kickoff sale that we have, they are going to be available, per pack basis, on a per pack basis in the store. We are going to be revealing more details on how often those sales are going to be happening and when the next sale is very soon. So just stay tuned for when that next sale comes. But yeah, it's going to be basically the same experience that we had for the kickoff sale.
Very good. Let's talk about packs. We talked a little bit about this. Adon addressed it in the Upland Cafe on Friday, I believe. But what is a pack, and are players able to trade packs?
Yeah, so again, like I mentioned back on Friday, the packs are more kind of like a metaphorical way for us to represent what each player purchased. We do not, like, the pack itself is not an NFT. So you cannot trade a pack, and we do not have the concept of unopened packs, right? When you receive the pack, the NFTs have already been delivered to your account, to your ownership. So I hope that is pretty clear. Again, the packages are more symbolic and kind of like carry these types of like unboxing ceremonies that players get when they receive the packs themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Again, we're getting a lot of questions. I would highly recommend everybody jump into the previous AMA. We went over some of the details here. If you have any technical questions for legits, feel free to ask those. But we're going to point you for a lot of the more generic questions that we've gotten, that we've addressed multiple times, to our previous AMA and our previous documentation. All the information is there. So head
Just
over there
on that
and check it
note,
out. Yes.
by the way, there will be a more complete NFLPA legits guide that we drop. So just keep an eye out for that. We'll ping you guys when that's ready. But that should help alleviate some of these concerns and give you guys a place where you can just go and see all of the answers to a lot of these questions.
General Mott, I thought you were going to say there will be a quiz at the
end. I wasn't ready. I should have made one. That would have been fun, actually.
Yeah.
Real quick, Aaron Bursar writes in and asks, when we already talked about burning, there will be potential, or there will be an ability to burn legits. Stay tuned for that. He's asking specifically, I think Aaron Bursar has requested a refund. Aaron Burr, absolutely. Make sure you write into support if you haven't yet, and we'll be able to take care of of that from there. And at some point when that feature drops, we'll be able to take care of you. So make sure you write into support, and you feel free to DM me as well if you'd like to follow up, or any of our community managers on that point. Where will we be able to view our fan score? Jason Mansu writes in.
Yeah, so you are going to be able to see your fan score on the player level and on the team level. They're just going to have a couple of more updates coming in the next couple of weeks with kind of like, especially when it comes to the 2021 primary markets deployment. So absolutely, when you want to queue up to a memento sale, you pretty much want to know where you stand with your team fan score. So that will be visible and prominent for everybody to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, should be more clarity on fan scores and stuff once the trading event gets out there. Should help you guys kind of contextualize how it all works.
Yeah. We do see the players are writing in with some confusion on how the spreadsheet works with regards to the fan score. I think maybe Matt, let's do one more review of it if you want to bring that up, just to review it one more time, guys. You can also rewind this and go back to the beginning and see it. But I think reviewing it one more time, and particularly going over what each card does for the fan score, this seems to be a recurring question that is coming up here in YouTube chat.
Sure. What each card? You said?
Yes.
Okay. So just to reiterate, guys, so when you guys bought your packs, players were in one of two categories, right? You were either received packs with impact players or packs with superstar players, or both, right? The impact players we are considering to be among the top 30 players on any given team, excluding the top 3 players. And then the superstar players are those top 3 players, right? So for the purposes of fan scores, we did further break that down because, just to create, to make it more dynamic, right? A player who would be considered maybe the 30th best player on the roster, maybe not quite as impactful as the player that you might consider the 21st best player on the roster, right? So to further break that down, you've got 2 other categories of impact players. You have contributors and starters. Contributors would be, I believe, like anywhere between like 30 and 22. So kind of the bottom 8 of those top 30 players. Starters are going to be between the 22nd spot and the 3rd top spot, or 4th rather. And then you have key player, which would be the next, the bottom 2. So basically players ranked 2 and 3. And then elite player being that number 1 player on that team, right? So let's say I have in my inventory or in my asset wallet, I've got a memento cap from Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be an elite player, so you're going to get the highest maximum points for that cap. You're going to get 2,400 points. Now, if you happen to have that memento from a playoff game, you're going to get a boost to that. So if I've already got 2,400 points, then you can see the extra boost that you'll get there, whether it's by 5%, 10%, 15%, or 20%, right? And then if you get that memento autographed, you're also going to receive an additional boost to that, right? So you get 20% for every autograph. So, or just multiply this by 1.2. Does that kind of make sense?
No, that's perfect. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Matt, for reviewing that.
Also, I wanted to clarify the contributors tier is 10 players. So it's basically the between 30 and 20. Sorry, I messed that up. And then tier 3 is the same thing. It's the basically places 20 to 4, if that makes sense. So does that kind of clarify things for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely, sure does. Thank you very much. And for everybody looking to grab this sheet, you can go to our events announcement that was just just published. I also posted this and pinned it here in YouTube chat, so make sure you go check that out and do a deep dive. Check out all the players, your percentages, and then how the fan points work for each of your cards, stuff like that. Let's take just 1 or 2 more questions here. We got one about autographs. I think it might be worth reviewing how autographs will work. Idon, can we still get, TerraVision wrote in from Discord, she says, can we still get 2020 Legits autographed from NFL players that have been traded?
Yeah, absolutely. So what drives basically the ability of the legit to be autographed is the player, and not necessarily where he played at that moment. So, for example, if one player got traded, you can take a legit from the previous team that he played for, and then if they happen to walk out after a game to sign, you can get that legit signed as well. So it's player driven, not necessarily the city. Is that?
Very cool. Uplando in YouTube chat has a question here. He says, groups and teams, how will it work for fan scores? So Uplando, I apologize. I'm not sure. We don't have teams in, so you're buying individual packs or individual players with those. Anyways, if you could clarify, Uplando, that'd be great. And then we keep getting questions on when Nashville. Everybody stay tuned. We'll have more details on Nashville soon. We're very excited for Nashville, so stay tuned for that. I think that's, guys, I think we've gone through most of the questions here. Don, do you have anything that you'd like to leave us with as we head out?
Sorry, real quick. I think there's some confusion. I don't know. I saw somebody follow up and say 4-person group contests were mentioned. I don't call any 4-person group contests. Yeah, not sure.
Yeah,
I hope they're not talking about squads. That's
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, you can DM us and anyone on the community team, and we'll be able to get back to you with that answer. Just if you want to clarify it. Don, if you'd like to just leave us anything that you want to leave us with about the NFLPA Legits, or they're here, we're excited. What next?
Yeah, I mean, next is going to be the 2021 primary markets, and we're going to start casting a lot of gamification, a lot of excitement around this project. Again, as you see with the fire stats, right now this becomes very interesting. If you get to mint a memento and then go off to watch the game and see how the player that you were successful in minting their legits performs, that could actually affect the kind of like the end result of what you actually get shipped as the final NFT. That's very exciting. And then can't wait to deliver the rest of it, collections and merging to create replicas and autographing and everything. We're full force working on that. Can't wait to deliver it.
Yeah, no, amen. Real quick, we actually did get a really good question in YouTube. The Radish Bros writes in and says, now that the NFL Legit framework is developed and released, will this mean less work needs to be done to launch similar NFT collectibles in the future?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think you can start seeing it. It's very, very different, but still utilizing some of the same infrastructure with the Spirit Halloween legits. So one part of the Spirit Halloween kind of like NFT that we're doing is legits, and that utilizes some of that infrastructure. And again, those mechanics are going to serve legits for other brands and other partnerships that we're going to do. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Stay tuned, everybody, for that. Again, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for everybody who submitted some questions over on our Discord page, as well as joining us here live on YouTube. I want to reiterate again, if you would like to learn everything there is to learn about Legits, a link is in the description below to our previous AMA. And this one was here to just clarify a couple questions that we saw in the community. Again, you can reach out to any of our community managers on Discord. You can write into support as well, and we'll be more than happy to help answer those questions.
We could be healthy too.
We could be healthy and happy. Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you very much, Adon, for taking the time today. Everybody on YouTube, thank you. And everybody in the metaverse, we'll see you in Upland.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Awesome. Thanks. Bye-bye.